Welcome, Valerie. How are you?
Good. Hi, how are you? Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Thank you for being my guest today. I'm excited about the conversation that we are about to get into.
Me too. Me too.
Great. So, to get started, just please share with our listeners who you are, both personally and professionally.
Okay. My name is Valerie, as you said. I am a certified personal trainer and a weight management coach. I train people in person, one on one, and online as well. And that's me in a nutshell. Personally, recently got married during COVID in August, 4 months
Oh,
ago.
oh wow. Okay. Oh, we have to talk about that, but go ahead.
And I don't have any children, and I will be 51 in February 2021.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know, so it's coming up. I can't believe how fast that went.
Yeah.
Um, that's about it in a nutshell.
So, 2020 was a big year for you. So you turned 50 right
Yes,
before everything started
I did.
and you got married. So those are
Yes,
two major things that took place this year, two big
yes.
milestones. So
Mhm.
how did that go? Like how did you bring in your 50th? I mean, I don't think we were locked down yet, right? We at least for where I'm located
Not
in
yet.
New Jersey, it was in March.
Yes.
So not yet. So were you able to do anything special for your birthday? Anything big?
I was we have a friend who was traveling, so he asked us if we wanted to house sit and watch his dog
Hmm.
for the month of well, a couple weeks in February, for like 2 weeks in February. So we were like, okay, sure. Who wouldn't want to go to February when it's cold in New Jersey
Right.
and in the wintertime? So we went to Sarasota
Okay.
and he wanted to extend his trip, so we ended up staying in Sarasota from February 7th to about right before COVID. We got back to New Jersey March 10th. So on my birthday, I actually got engaged.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
wow, wait a second. So 50th birthday, got engaged around that same time and then
yeah,
got married. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
6 months later, got married. So it was like we wanted to get married on our 5-year anniversary.
Okay.
So that's why we made it happen in August.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
So
how did that work for you? How did that happen?
well, I have a best friend who's an event planner, so that just like everything worked out for the good. So it was like 2 weeks planning, and then we are like, okay, well, let's do it, because we needed an outside venue,
Hmm.
and we had a friend who owned an outside venue, and we used that, and it all worked out at the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So did you have to trim down your guest list at
we
all?
did. We did. We had about 45 people,
Hmm.
so we wanted to have more, but we did what we could during COVID.
Were people understanding?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
People were
good.
understanding. Some people didn't come because of COVID,
Right.
but we did what we could. It was outside, and
Hmm.
we all had a great time.
Well, it was definitely memorable, I'm sure.
Yes,
And you don't ever have to be at risk for hubby probably not remembering the year at least, right? We will all
exactly.
remember everything that has taken place this year.
In
Everything.
2020. Yes, what a
Yes.
year.
All right. Well, congratulations on all the great things that have taken place.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so our listeners are clearly listening,
Mhm.
but this interview will be available via YouTube. But I
Okay.
bring that up because I am looking at you, so I want to preface all that I was saying with this to say that you look great, and I'm thinking, wow, 50, and
Thank
um, it's impressive because I start to notice more and more. Like once I got to 45 and above, it was like I noticed everything about women around the same age.
you. Hmm.
So, as a personal trainer, what exactly, like, if you had to define to someone what exactly you do for them as a personal trainer, what would you say? How would you describe your profession?
First of all, I would like to say thank you for the compliment.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. And I would describe my profession to someone. I basically help. I prefer to work with women, but I basically help women learn to love themselves again, learn to love their bodies again, because it's never too late.
Right. And it's interesting to say, learn to love your bodies again. Because in different conversations I have, that's what seems to come up, right? Because now we start to have a better appreciation for how we used to look, you know, whether it was based on when we were younger or pre-kids or whatever it was. And even personally speaking, I'll share that years ago, I had a belly ring and I was hanging out in the city, my husband and I don't even think we were married more than like a year or so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were married then. And we were just going out to dinner to meet another couple.
Okay.
It was literally an impromptu thing that I did. I said, I always wondered how it would be to get a belly ring. He said, oh, you should do it. And all of a sudden I was on a table getting a belly ring. I'm like, how did this happen? When did this happen? And I had taken a picture of myself back then. Fast forward, having babies a few years later, it grew out. Today, I look down, I'm going, damn, if you really, I wish I had a better appreciation for how I looked back then because, you know, found issues with this or that. And I'm like, and I looked really good, but I could not embrace that at the time.
Yes.
I would give anything. In my head, I'm still trying to get back to that time. So it's interesting when you say that. So you are helping women learn to love themselves again. Is it learning to love themselves based on where they currently are, where they'd like to be, or to return to who they once were?
I think it's a combination of all three because once you decide to make the move that you want to lose the weight, then you have to work on what you currently have and realize that you are good enough where you are, but you just want to make some improvements. So as you journey through the stages to improve, you're going to notice within yourself how your body is changing, how you're feeling. So that's going to also help make you understand, okay, I'm starting to like this, you know? And then once you're done, you're like, okay, look at me now. I'm ready.
So do you help women set goals, or do you leave it up to the woman to decide what her goals are? So is your function more or less to help her achieve her goals?
I ask them where they want to be and then take into consideration where they are currently. So I make suggestions and guide them as to, okay, by this date, I know you can do this. I know, like, you can't lose 100 pounds in 10 days. You know what I mean? So I guide them.
Darn it.
Unfortunately, no. Not that I know, unless you have. No, not that I know of. But,
I think I know where you were going. Nothing medically, right? Nothing like that, right? Okay.
Yes. But I guide them and ask them where they want to be and where they want to go. And then I make my suggestions and we take it from there.
Okay. So do your suggestions, because I know you also said that you're a weight management coach. So do your suggestions include dealing with nutrition as well as fitness? And with fitness, is it a combination of cardio and weight training? What do you normally refer to when you are devising a plan for your clients?
Usually it is what they're eating and exercising. So what they're eating is about 75 to 80% of the battle of losing the weight and putting their body in fat burning mode as opposed to fat storage mode. And then when it comes to exercising, I like to use weights and cardio. So the combination of the two and what you're eating.
Okay. So how is it working for you virtually? How do you, because, excuse me, I am always scouring Instagram. I love Instagram more so than any other platform. Facebook, that's more family related things and Twitter, I get too angry, so I can't do that. Like, I have to abandon Twitter. I mean, just some of the things that come out of it. So I stick to Instagram.
Yes.
And on Instagram, there are tons of people who are fitness experts or coaches. And I don't necessarily know if they're all working virtually. I would assume so, because we've all had to pivot our businesses at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find is that what happened with you, or are you able to still work, even if it's on a limited basis, with people in person?
Since COVID, when COVID first began, everything was online. So I was here in my office training people via Zoom. And then once we reopened, I was able to work with people one-on-one. So I won't do a large session with many people, but one-on-one in the home or in a small studio or still online.
Okay. So most of your practice is one-on-one versus group?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay. All right. And have you seen good results that way? So are people, one, are they feeling the connection still virtually? And two, are you able to get the results for them that they want? I mean, I know you can't get results for them, but because it's through your guidance, each individual has to do it on their own.
Yes.
But do you find that, especially during COVID, because we're all home and probably gaining weight or doing things we wouldn't normally do you find that your clients are still seeing the results that they seek?
I think most people, yes. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are a couple people who are just, they don't do what they should be doing. But most of the people who do pay a trainer, someone to hold them accountable, will stick to the plan.
Mm-hmm. Do you find, I think I know the answer to this and I'll tell you why afterwards. Do you find that many people choose to work with a coach because of the accountability piece? Because I mentioned on Instagram how much there is out there.
Yes.
So you can kind of devise a program if you choose to on your own by following certain people or a combination of people to craft whatever the program is that you need.
Yes.
It will help you accomplish your goals. But will you be consistent?
Yeah.
So do you find that that's a big part of your role as a personal trainer and coach? It's the accountability piece?
Yes, I do agree with that. The accountability. Most people who pay for a trainer, either they don't know how to work out properly, they don't know what to do, or they don't feel comfortable doing it by themselves.
Right.
And B, they need someone to hold them accountable. And accountability is such a great thing, because people will do what they're supposed to do and hopefully not slack off.
Right. Well, I about a year ago, I got tired of complaining about wanting to accomplish all these things with regards to weight, and it wasn't happening. So I figured, okay, I'm going to start an accountability group on Facebook, which I did, and it's still running today. So X number of people sign up and a small percentage actually are active.
Yes.
And it works to a certain extent. Right? But I can say that I find that people are more committed when they're paying for it, right? Exactly. Because when it's something that's free, it's like, if I participate, fine. If I don't, there's no harm, right? So I get to test the waters there quite a bit. Now for business, I definitely believe in accountability as well, because even though I'm self-motivated, I still join accountability groups. So I believe that they always work, because sometimes you just need that extra push, right?
Push, yes.
So with that push, how do you keep women motivated? How do you keep them accountable to themselves? Do they have to check in with you? Do you use psychology to what do you do to hold their feet to the fire?
Well, first I ask them, I'm like, how do you want to be held accountable? And I'll see what works best for them. If it's via text message, daily text, or daily phone calls, or email.
Wow.
Or if they work better, if I tell them to send me what they're eating and how their workouts were. So it depends on the person and how they respond to accountability.
So what if they're not responsive to you? What do you do?
Well, I'll keep calling or texting until I get a response. If it's, online. So, and if it's in person, then I can see them and I'll be like, okay, what's going on, but I will contact you until you respond back to me.
Yeah. Are you more of a, I go, woo, 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 all is well person, or are you like, get your shit together person? Or does it depend on the individual?
It depends on the individual, but overall, I have a pleasant demeanor for people. Okay. And depending on how, some people like to be kicked like hard, and if that's what they want, then I'll bring that to them. But if you just need someone like, hey Bree, what's going on today? You didn't text me back. What's going on? Then I can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So at the beginning, we've talked about the fact that you work with women of a particular age, right? So around 45 plus. And so when I would only assume that many of those women are busy with life, right? So whether they have kids or not, or their careers are a priority for them, husbands, boyfriends, whatever it is, life just generally tends to be hectic for that person.
Yes.
Around that time. So when we're not mindful of what we're doing all the time, then our bodies start to slowly change, right?
Yes.
And I believe that you also mentioned that that was your own personal experience, that when you start to see your body change, then you decided that you had to take action.
Yeah.
Can you just share with people? So I'm not telling your story. Can you tell your story about what you decided to do? What changes did you see in your body? And what led you to get more into fitness?
So when I was in my late 20s, that's when I started working out with weights. And that's when I had my first major change with my body. I did like a 12-week program and I was like, oh, wow, okay, I like this. So I think I was 28 or 29 when I did that. And then throughout my 30s, the early part of my 30s, I stuck with the plan. But then slowly, I was like, oh, I can eat this.
Yes.
I don't have to work out. I don't have to do this.
That's what happens. We take our youth for granted.
Yes, we do. And then when I was in my 40s, and then I looked at pictures. I'm like, wait a minute, that's what I look like now? I don't remember looking like that.
The pictures will do it. Either be excited and impressed with yourself or disappointed.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to go out like this because I know what to do. And before that time, I wasn't a certified trainer, but then I became a certified trainer in my when I turned 48, I believe 48. So I became a certified trainer, and then I always loved fitness and would read magazines and increase my knowledge. But then I was like, okay, I'm changing my body again because I did it before and I know I could do it again, and that's what I did. I was like, nope, not when I turned 50. Nope.
So was your goal to look a certain way by the age of 50?
No, it wasn't.
Or you just didn't like the way the direction things were headed?
I didn't like the way things were headed, but then once I started to get back into it and I saw the changes, I was like, okay, I like the changes. I can get used to this. So that's how I started again.
Right.
So
okay.
I wasn't consistent throughout the 20s and 30s, but then once I hit 48, I was like, okay, I have to do this on a daily.
Oh yes. And again, it takes a couple of really good pictures to show you where you are.
Yes.
I mean, I just think about recent pictures I've taken and I'm angry at myself because I was I mean, when I was younger, I was a competitive. I actually wasn't competitive. I was a gymnast. I'm thinking about my daughter's was a competitive gymnast. I wish, but still very involved in gymnastics. Ran track, all of that. Got involved in weight training. Loved that throughout my 20s and even the early mid 30s. And then when life got hectic with kids, it just kind of went out the window. But now you add hormones into the picture.
Yes.
And it just presents a very different situation.
It does.
So how do you work with women who are at the place where, hormones do kick in? I mean, even talking to physicians, it's like, they don't really have much to advise. They're like, just brace yourself for the 20 extra pounds. How do you say that to somebody? Brace yourself because you'll probably gain about 20 pounds. Can't really help you. It's like, after it's all said and done, then we'll talk. What does that mean? You know what I mean? So that doesn't even make sense to me.
No.
So how do you advise women who are very health conscious, weight conscious, and knowing that either they are approaching that change of life stage or they are there?
Yes.
How do you work with them? And how do you keep them motivated to keep going? Because if you're not seeing certain results, then there's going to be inconsistencies, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I always start with what they're eating. I want to know what you're putting in your mouth, because what you put in your mouth is going to affect your body. It's going to affect your hormones and how you look and feel. So I need to see, like when we first begin, for the first week, what are you eating? And usually when I say this to people, they're like, well, I eat good. And you're not eating good because you don't have the results that you want, So I need to see what you're eating. And then we start there. And basically most women, they don't eat enough and they don't consume enough protein to build the lean muscle in the body. And by not eating enough, they're putting their body in fat storage mode. And you should be eating to put your body in fat burning mode. And that's going to help with the weight gain.
Oh, so that will help minimize the weight gain.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a matter of, based on what you just said, eating enough, making sure you consume enough protein, and I guess enough fat burning food. So do you take people through that? Like, what does that even mean? So what's a fat burning food?
So eating foods to put you in fat burning mode.
Yeah.
So
I knew I had that wrong, but I didn't know how to say it. I figured you'd correct me.
That's okay. That's all right. But eating foods to put your body in fat burning mode. So like the proteins, the vegetables, some fruit. But most women, they're either taking care of other people and not eating enough food to even put their body in fat burning mode, eating the wrong types of foods, like, high starchy, sugar laden foods. And they're not moving enough. You have to move. And when you get older, people move less. And we've all heard a body in motion stays in motion. But, if you're not going to move your body,
right,
stuff is just going to stick to it and not release and not go anywhere.
I can visually, I can see that, right? Literally, you're not moving, you're eating, and things are just staying in certain places, right?
Yes.
So we often hear you can't have one without the other, right? You can't work out and not eat well, or eat well and not work out. So you're just pretty much reiterating that now, right? It's like, because we know that, but we don't necessarily act on it.
Yes. It's okay to treat yourself.
Right.
If you eat good 75 to 80% of the time, you'll be okay. You can have your, pizza or whatever you want every now and then, but not every day.
Right. So when you start working with people for the first week, it sounds like you have them journal what they're eating.
Yes.
Do they also include when they're eating? So do you take a look at what they're eating throughout every day throughout the day? as well as the time frames that they're eating, and then make a plan and suggestions based off of that, how to
Yeah.
improve that?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you're just eating nothing all day long and then nighttime comes, you're sitting on a couch watching Netflix and eating ice cream,
Even if it's a healthier alternative.
that's your
It
only
sounds
meal
like me.
today.
Sounds like me about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Not good, not good.
But I don't eat ice cream. Actually, I eat are you familiar with Daily Harvest?
I think I may have heard of it. I've never tried it.
Okay. So they have, as opposed, it's like an ice cream alternative. They call it scoops because it's really
Okay.
based on vegetables, and it's absolutely delicious. And I go, well, if I eat half of a pint of this, and it's vegetable based,
Okay.
is that okay at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Well, it depends what's in it. Like how much, is there any sugar in it?
There's supposed to be very little. I don't, because there are different flavors, so I have to take a look to see what it is. But I'm sure the answer is no. But I figured if I throw that out there, you may give me the answer that I would like to hear. So, it's hard now during COVID too, right? Because it's the snacking. How do you not? It's like my schedule has been so thrown off. I already stay up late, but now my kids stay up late, and my husband, like, we're all thrown off with COVID,
Yeah.
which also means that like, now it's going to snow in New Jersey, right? We're expecting a nor'easter.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure that I went out last night and got the right snacks, right? So when we get stuck, hopefully not, knock on wood, that we'll have snacks. But what does that mean? It means that we'll be watching a movie of some sort at 2 o'clock in the morning, eating snacks, and that has become more of a habit during this pandemic period.
Wow.
So if when you're working with someone, like, what do you share should be like the cutoff time? Does it matter what time they go to sleep, and that determines the cutoff time?
It depends on the person, because if your day starts later, so if you're up at 2 a.m. watching a movie, what time do you go to bed?
I go to bed late, so it could be 4 o'clock, but then I'm sleeping until like 10. You know what I mean? So I give myself that grace on the other end.
Yes.
And so just for people to know, when I say kids, I have a 22-year-old who just came home from college, who just graduated, and I have a 17-year-old. So they're self-sufficient. So it's not as though I've got babies and I'm sleeping till 10 o'clock, because I haven't been able to do this in forever. This is a newfound little freedom or treat.
Okay. Yes, your self-retreat.
Yes.
But it depends on the person. But whenever you do get up, it is important, I believe, to have breakfast within an hour of waking, because you're breaking the fast of not eating for like 5, 6, 7 hours. And then when you have a healthy, nutritious breakfast, that most times leads you to a path of better eating throughout the day.
Okay.
As opposed to not eating anything at all and then thinking, okay, since I didn't have breakfast, I'll just have 3 donuts and a bagel and all that other good stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's not good. So what about the people who are health conscious, but because of the weight gain, because of probably being sedentary, they start to identify, like, they're headed towards chronic illnesses, right? Such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, what's the other one? Diabetes, things to that effect. So I think a lot of people are very aware that those things are could be their possibilities if they're not careful.
Yes.
And even knowing that, people still don't take certain actions. So how do you work with those people that maybe, if their numbers are high, but they're not there yet, or they are there? Do you have different plans for those individuals? And how do you encourage them to take this seriously enough where they start to execute against the plan that you create?
Well, it all begins within themselves. So I try to work on them so that they understand. But most people who come to me, they realize, okay, I need to do this, you know?
By the time they get to you, they've already worked it out in their
Most
head.
times, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to help them realize that, if you have a heart attack, that's going to cost you like 5 times the amount of money of what the healthy foods you should be eating today.
Mm-hmm.
Even maybe 100 times more, because, a heart attack, the health expenses, the medications,
Mm-hmm.
all that can be prevented because you have the control in your hand. The whole, you control everything with what
Right.
you're putting in your body.
So, but is that enough to get them to move? Have you found that
Some
the
people,
financial piece, or I would think for some people maybe they don't want to be on medications
yes.
for the rest of their lives. So if that's it, have you found that food and exercise could get them to the point where they can abandon? And I know, of course, working with their physicians,
Yes.
but have you seen it being successful where through working out against a plan helps them ward off, well, I guess, reduce the amount of medications they're taking or eliminate it completely?
Yes, it does. When you bring down the body fat
Mhm.
and you're drinking more water, and you're exercising, it changes the body. So yes, I have seen that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it always amazes me, and sometimes I can fall into this category
Mm-hmm.
where you should be doing something, but you do get sedentary
Mm-hmm.
and you don't take that action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in your head, you want it to be a lifestyle, right? You
Yeah.
want to make certain changes
Yeah.
where you are eating well consistently, and then you also know how to eat well. Because I find that's a problem as well.
Yes.
Wanting to eat well, or like you started saying before, thinking you're eating well, but you're not.
Yes.
So how do you get that person to change? Is it really just an internal fight that they have to deal with and overcome? Or are you able to help them along the way? Was
I
it a
think
combination?
yes, definitely a combination because when they come to me, they're already at that point where they know they want to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for the guidance as to how to change, and with their changing mindset and direction from me, we work together to get them to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So once they're ready, and they decide they want to do it, it's done. We
Right.
got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what about the types of workouts? Do you try to find something that they enjoy? Because I could only think that if someone enjoys a particular workout, then they'll do it. They're more likely to stick to the plan versus if they're being forced to do something else
Mm-hmm.
that they don't like.
Yeah. So with me, I'll ask them what they like to do. And then on the days that they're not with me, you can do that. And then when you're with me, we'll work out with the weights. We'll do what we need to do to give you the the most benefit for the time that you're spending with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as long as you're moving your body, depending on where you are in your weight loss stage, some people in the beginning may need to work out 7 days a week just to keep their body moving, just
7 days. Now, when you say workout 7 days a week, are you talking about rigorous workouts or just some movement of some sort?
some movement. Because some people have been so sedentary for so many years that they need to move every single day. And then once you get to a certain point, okay, 6 days a week, and then 5 to 6 days a week. But you should be moving every day. Anyway, everybody, if you are healthy and if you can, your body needs to move.
How do you define move? Do you mean just walking around your house, or do you mean like some sort of aggressive workout?
Just walking around your house or some aggressive workout. If you have, like I have an iWatch. So during COVID, sometimes me and my husband, we challenge each other with who can get the most steps in the house. So
Mm-hmm.
we're walking in the house, up and down the stairs, but we're moving, you
Right.
know?
Right.
But as long as you're doing something, working out rigorously, walking up and down the stairs, doing squats once you use the bathroom. I started this one a couple weeks ago. So every time I use the bathroom, I'll do like 10 squats, and then I'll walk around for 2 minutes, and then I'll do some lunges. So I have like this whole little system that I use after I use the restroom. And
so is that just as a reminder to yourself to get that part of to get some sort of workout in? Is that what that does? Okay.
Yes. So my highest day, I did like 90 squats in one day.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it adds up.
I can see how that would happen too, because especially if you're drinking a lot of water,
Exactly.
right? And you're constantly going to the restroom. So yeah, I like that actually. I like that. Do you hear that, women? That's a great tip. So every time you go to the restroom, try to do like 10 squats at least.
Yes. At least 10 squats or 10 lunges. And if you're drinking water, try and drink like 0.5 ounce per pound. So use that as a guide.
0.5 ounces per pound, meaning your body weight?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure. I've got to calculate that.
But you'll feel so much better, and your skin will be glowing.
Yeah.
And you'll get your squats in.
Right. All those benefits.
And most people being home, you have no excuse not to drink.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was someone suggested that I get one of those humongous bottles from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the amount of water it can hold, but it's humongous, right? And it has like the time of the morning that you should consume X amount.
Yes.
I have to get that. I always forget. I've placed so many Amazon orders, and every time I've completed the order, I'm going, darn it, I need to order that water bottle. I better get to it.
Yes.
So let me ask you then, are you mindful of what you eat and drink all the time?
Most times, not all the time. Mm-hmm. So during the week, I try to stick to my healthy plan. And then on the weekends, I'll just eat what I want.
Okay. So literally whatever you want on the weekends? Mm-hmm. So are you naturally thin and fit? Well, I guess not, because you mentioned earlier that at least in your 40s, when you first got there, you had some changes.
I've lost the last transformation for myself. I lost 15 pounds. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I'm 5'3", and that adds up like on your body.
Yes.
So
because when you're small, in my case, I'm short. So I'm short and small. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, it makes a big difference on a small frame. So no, I completely understand. Mm-hmm. So do you deprive yourself of anything? Is there something that's just, I'm staying away from that? I definitely will never eat that. Is there anything on that list?
No, because once I eat it, it affects my body differently now. Mm-hmm. And so once you start eating healthy, and then when you eat the junk, you'll eat it, and then you'll be like, oh my God, why did I eat that? Because then you'll start to feel crappy. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the benefits of eating healthy, because when you do eat that crappy food, you're going to be like, it was good going down, but then.
Yeah, it'll tell on you a little later. Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I don't want this anymore. So actually, no, I'll just eat it, and then I'll feel like crap, and then I'll realize I don't want it anymore. And for like another 2 weeks,
Right. Mm-hmm. So do you advise for women, like say that they're not there yet, right? They don't have your habits yet. Mm-hmm. Do you suggest that they deprive themselves of some things, at least in the beginning stages, or do you work with them to figure out the best time to actually consume something that they may just have to have, whether it's sugar? But because I know some people have the school of thought of no deprivation, because all that does is work against you on the other end, because then you start to binge eat.
Yeah.
So do you share that line of thinking, or is it more or less like don't do that, or is it more or less reward yourself sometimes, and then your body will get to the point where it doesn't want it, so then you won't want it eventually? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does. Mm-hmm. I think it depends on the person, because there's some people who feel like I can go, this amount of time and I won't have a problem not having that piece of cake. But then there's other people who are like, no, I can't do this. But I always suggest that they try, at least for 21 days to, you know, withhold from the cake. But for those 21 days, you're going to be eating so much healthy, good foods, and you're creating a habit so that perhaps at the end of the 21 days, you know, you'll be like, I don't want it, or I'll try it. But then you've created this healthy habit. So hopefully you will maintain that and stay on that healthier road.
Right. Well, I'll use an extreme example. So, I love French fries. I mean, I'm a French fries connoisseur.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if I should be proud of that, but I am. And I remember like decades ago loving McDonald's, right? And I literally say decades ago.
Yes.
And I remember maybe like 10 years ago, I had to go to Rockland County for something. And so that's it was like almost a 2-hour drive. And I was driving alone, starving at the end of this thing that I had done, the event I had gone to. And then on the way home, the only thing that was open was McDonald's. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. So I was so scared to reintroduce that to my system, you know? One, I didn't want to get sick, but two, like, would I start to crave that again? I couldn't imagine that I would have started to crave it because it had been so long since I had it, and it's so bad for you. And I had it, and it was terrible, right? They also didn't cook it well, which was great.
Yes.
Because then I really had no desire to eat the entire carton of fries. I only got fries, so I should have started by saying that. I only ordered fries thinking, let me just get a small order. It'll hold me over till I get home. And like I said, it was terrible. But I was so happy that I did not enjoy it because there was no temptation after that.
See?
But I have to say, like, in between time, I think it was my daughter, she had a science fair at school when she was in elementary school, and one of the kids there decided to do an experiment with McDonald's food, and they showed what French fries look like from day 1 through like day 10. Pretty much, it looked about the same. That's scary. It's
I know.
like, how much crap is in that item for it to look somewhat, well, for it to resemble somewhat what it looked like on day 1. When you see things like that, it really drives the point home that it's just not good for you. Stay away from it. So I need to see stuff like that with respect to sugar.
But
It'll make me stay away.
Sugar, it has the same ingredients, except for one ingredient. I'm not sure which one it is, as cocaine. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. So the way that people have that sugar high and
and that it creates that addictive behavior. I'm gonna look into that.
Yes.
So it's got some element of it that resembles cocaine.
Yes, except for one ingredient, but I don't know the ingredients or which one it is, but it's very closely related to the compound makeup of that cocaine, of the drug.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll have to look into that.
And then you can feel it in your body. Like, I know I can after eating, if I'm eating healthy, then if I eat something crappy, I'm just like, I'll crash at the end and feel like a carb overload and just need to take a nap.
Right. You know, I'm not a big soda drinker. Every now and then I want to have like a Sprite or something, right? But that's rare. Like, I wouldn't even keep juice in the house except orange juice. I try to keep that, you know. But other than that, my kids, they're used to it now, but man, did they complain. No juice, definitely no soda, and I tried to explain to them why, whatever. So they just have to deal with it. But I remember a time when I was drinking different seltzer waters that were flavored, and then ginger ale. And then I was reading this book entitled Skinny Bitch, which I need to read again, but it's such a good book because it really enlightens you and it opens your eyes to so many things that
Mhm.
you think are good for you that are not,
Mhm.
including what the government says. It's
Mhm.
the whole thing. Well, so you're clearly familiar with it. So, I'm saying all this too for people who are listening.
Mhm.
So I'm reading Skinny Bitch and it talked about aspartame and how most products include it.
Mhm.
And I looked at both the brand of seltzer water that I was drinking and the brand of ginger ale.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my God, they both have aspartame. And it made so much sense because I realized like when I drank either of
Mhm.
them
Mhm.
and or when my kids did it, we had such like an addictive quality. Like we would just, you couldn't just have one glass. You had to have
Yeah.
more. And you only stopped when because you were full, right? You couldn't consume but so much in terms of liquid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just makes so much sense. And it's like there is clearly a direct correlation between what you consume and
Mhm.
its effect on your body.
Yeah.
But after reading that book and knowing what I had been experiencing over time, but couldn't really explain why,
Mhm.
immediately just
Mhm.
stopped consuming
Wow.
it. So I
Wow.
think that's a big piece to all of this is education, right?
Yes.
So nutritionally knowing what's bad for you, what
Mhm.
what your system can tolerate,
Yeah.
and so is that a part of what you do too? So even advising
Mhm.
women on, so when you look at their journals, right?
Yes.
You can share with them
Mhm.
what does work or what you shouldn't consume, what you need to stay
Mhm.
away from. So you do that.
Yeah. So basically, if it comes out of a box
Mhm.
or a bag, um, like plastic bag, box, frozen dinner, no.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If it's not, if it's those things, you stay away from that.
Right.
Mhm.
Someone said to me once, if you go to purchase food, and we were talking about pasta and sauces, if
Mhm.
you go to purchase a jar of pasta or any food and it says that it's got an expiration date of 2 3 years from now, then it's probably not healthy. It's
Exactly.
probably, it's probably not the thing that you want to consume. Like, yeah, that's true, that makes sense.
Exactly. Yes. Do
Because it's
not.
got to be loaded with tons of preservatives, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you about cleanses. What are your thoughts on cleanses? Because I think many women use it as a quick fix,
Mm.
right? Not even
Mhm.
it, them,
Mhm.
because there are tons of them out there. So use them as quick fixes. What do you think about them? Do you feel they're effective or not?
I think it depends on what you're using, first of all. And I think if you want to do it, then like not like every month, maybe like once every 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
so that um, it should be used as a reset to your body.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do it, then do it to reset your body so that you are then going to continue
Mm-hmm.
to eat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Not like do it and junk food, do it and then, do it to reset the body, reset the metabolism, clean out the junk, and then continue with the healthy plan.
Right. So do you find that the short-term cleanses, such as the 1 day or the 3 day cleanses, do anything? Are they effective at all? Even if they're, say, a green juice cleanse.
I think, I mean, it depends on what results you're trying to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So if your intention is to just reset, like you're saying, then maybe that they're fine. But if it's to lose weight, well, 3 days is not enough. But um, like I've done a couple,
mhm,
and one was to reset. So a juice cleanse not too long ago. It was sometime during COVID.
mhm,
I don't know if it's done anything because I think the bigger issue there is knowing what's really good because there are different cleansing programs, but
yeah,
how do you really know if they're effective or if it's marketing? And I'm a
yeah,
marketer, so it's like, is it just marketing? I mean, I also am a woman who's interested in maintaining a certain weight, so I
yes.
still fall for those things as well.
Mhm.
But are they effective at all? And what is considered a good cleanse? I mean, I've also done, I don't even want to say the name of the one I've done because it's This other one is known. So I think it worked. It was a 21-day cleanse.
Okay.
It was very difficult. Oh, it's a raw food cleanse.
Okay.
And I did it with a friend.
Okay.
To be honest, what drove me more was the competition, right? Because I said, I will be damned if she finishes this, loses 10 pounds, and I'm stuck, right? So that was more or less what kept me on. So that's why I like accountability groups and stuff too, because those work for that purpose, for me at least. But for the shorter term cleanses, like I said, such as green juices, I don't know if they're effective. But so do you advise your clients at all to indulge in any of those?
I'm only aware of the cleanse that I've used myself. So it depends on what program or what cleanse that they're doing and what's involved and what's in the product. So
mind stating the one that you use, or do you not want to do so? Or at least what is it comprised of?
It's comprised of a 7-day detox. It's between 4 to 7 day detox.
Okay.
Where you're eating fruits and vegetables, whole foods, and you're also taking fiber so that it helps you to release excess products from your body, and also you're taking vitamins and other supplements and herbs to help the body reset, build the immune system as well, and help with inflammation. Or bringing one of the supplements is an antioxidant. So it's a variety of things that you can do to help you and then start your new healthy journey.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense because when I did the 21-day cleanse, it was that I had to take different supplements to clean out different organs. But also ensure that I was replenishing any needed vitamins, right? My system needed. So, because it just makes me wonder about the regular cleanse. So I know I keep coming back to that. So anyway, I'll table that one for now. But so another question, do you think like green juices are a good way to start the day every day? Are they really effective? And how much is enough? Or how much is, because I don't know, sometimes if I see different green juices, I feel good, but it could be a mental thing, which is still not bad. But how do you know that your intake is sufficient for giving you enough of the daily vitamin consumption that everyone says you should have?
Well, once again, it depends on what you're consuming, because if you're buying it, you have to know what's in it. And if
you don't know how much of each item in it.
So I mean, if you make it yourself, you're better off most times, because a lot of times you don't know what's in the stuff that's in the juice. I mean, you can read the ingredients and the ingredients are fine, but you have to watch out because some of those have a lot of sugar. So from my understanding, it's best that you make it yourself because you know what's in it.
Right.
You know the source.
Valerie's like, hire me. And I will work with you to identify the right products.
Because I mean, there's so much stuff you just don't know unless
I get it. The marketplace is just filled with a lot of options. Let's say
exactly.
Okay. So let's jump to your background for a second. So I wanted to talk to you mainly because I wanted to have this conversation to see like how we can share with other women and one, let them know that they're not alone, right? So there are many of us that have either struggled before, made the transformation so that they are living this healthier journey. And there are others who still struggle, but again, you're not alone and there are things you can do about it. The other reason I wanted to talk to you is because you come from the corporate sector and you spent some time there. Do you want to kind of just briefly address what you did? Because this is living her next phase, right? So your fitness expertise is for this phase of your life, but it is based off of things you have done in the past before, even if it's just your thought process and what you kind of engaged in before. So
yes.
What is your background, Valerie?
Now, my background, I worked for a Fortune 500 company. When I was 25, I got the job. And I was there for 21 years, 21 long years. Long years.
Long years.
Yes. So while I was there, that's when I first started my whole working out thing. And, working in an office can be stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you have to work long hours. And I remember those days.
Mm-hmm.
When I wasn't working out, I would eat whatever was, whatever party was happening in the office, I would partake in it and go home with a stomach ache because I was eating so much throughout the day. Or you go to another department and someone has donuts and you just
right. There's always food around, right?
Too much food around. But towards the end of my time there, that's when I started the transformation again. But being prepared, prepping your food, bringing food that is healthy, that you enjoy, will help you in the journey, because then you're prepared and you won't want to eat that crappy food that makes you feel like, So with me, that's what I did. I started the food prep, bring in the food, eating healthier, and people would be like, and people sometimes, I don't know if they do it intentionally or to be mean, but just because you're eating healthy foods, then they'll make fun of you and, make you feel like you're doing something wrong because you want to eat healthy. So everyone, do not shame people. If they want to eat healthy, or if they come to your house and bring their own food, they may have dietary restrictions.
Well, that's interesting though.
I've done that too.
I'm bringing my own food. Actually, what's funny is my mother's like that now. It's more or less, I'll prepare something for this event, yet she's coming with what she likes, which we get now. It's because she wants to ensure she has something to eat.
Yes.
So I get it, because you want to stick to what you know and what works for you.
Yes.
But when I was in corporate, I remember this one time where I had not seen this one particular person for quite a while. And he was on a heavier side. And when I did see him, I'm like, oh my God, I had to do a double take because he had lost so much weight.
Yeah.
And I had asked him what exactly he had done. He said, all I did was cut out soda. He said I was drinking a 2-liter bottle a day.
Oh my gosh.
Every single day. So literally all he had to do was eliminate that from his diet. All I could think about, I didn't get into his personal business or anything. I congratulated him on his weight loss. All I could think about is that he must have had diabetes or was headed in that direction, because I cannot imagine drinking a 2-liter bottle a day. So, no one was shaming him. That was for certain. I never even noticed that he was doing it. You know what I mean? But anyway, so to go from corporate to fitness, what got you to the point where you decided, I'm no longer going to be in corporate and I'm jumping into entrepreneurship?
Well, they let me go. And before that, I always was like, this isn't what I want to do. And always dipping and dabbing back and forth into fitness and health and just watching people and watching things. So when the opportunity came, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So when I first started, 20-some years, maybe 30 years ago now, but when I first started, I always wanted to become certified as a trainer, but I was afraid. I was like, oh, you have to know all this stuff, and I don't know if I can do it.
Right.
But then 20-something years later, I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And I just did it.
I think sometimes also you kind of know what you want to do.
Yes.
But like you said, you're fearful to abandon what you know and jump into the unknown. But when that decision is made for you, figure it out. And then you're like, darn it, why didn't I do this X number of years ago? I should have done this all along. Who knows where I would have been? But I mean, because I used to ask myself the same question, but you don't know, and you just leverage the experiences from before, right? It wasn't for you to do years before.
Exactly.
clear
And then
readers now.
the book, Think and Grow Rich by
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Hill,
Mm-hmm.
he says in the book, like most people don't make it or don't figure out what they want out of life until they're in their 40s.
Right.
So
You have to have some life experiences,
exactly,
you
exactly.
know?
Hmm.
And when I talk to my kids, they know, like since they were babies, I've always talked about entrepreneurship, but I tell them it's okay to work for someone else. It's okay to work in corporate, but
Yes,
always have your own as well so that you're never totally reliant upon that.
exactly. Yes.
But it's funny how they both have that bug. You can just see every now and then the ideas that are coming. I'm going, yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
But everything that takes place beforehand is okay
Yes. At
because it's
least.
preparing you for what that next step is supposed to be. And then
Yes.
at some point, when you get to your 40s and 50s, now you're leveraging
Yeah.
all that you were exposed to and all of those experiences, to make you the expert at something. So,
Yeah. And you're
yeah,
living your best life.
right. I mean, I've interviewed people who had two or three careers, you know what I mean, before they even got to the 40, 45 point.
Yeah. Hmm.
Some of that could be, it's not what I thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
especially when you go to school, you start out planning to go to college for one thing. You come out and you're like, why did I choose that? That's not what I wanted. Like for me, when I started undergrad, I said I want to be an OBGYN. I have no idea where that came from. I was just really good in the sciences, and I just thought that's what I was going to do. Year one, I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't want to be pre-med. I don't want to do this. And ended up in business. And
Mm.
it's been business all along, but you wouldn't know that unless you jump into something, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes it happens that way.
Exactly.
So, all right. So let's see. Where am I now? What else I want to ask you about? I asked you about virtually working because I definitely wanted to do that at one point.
Mhm.
So my question for you at this point is, we hear so much about self-care, self-care, self-care.
Yes.
So other than working out in food or eating well, I should say, how do you take care of yourself? What do you engage in? How does Valerie take care of Valerie?
Well, every morning when I get up, I start with my daily journaling. So, like, I got this from Mel Robbins, and she said, like, the top 5 things you want out of life. You just write what you want, and then
Write it daily?
write it daily.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay.
so I'd been doing that like all year because I think I heard that from her the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that. And then I have an app called Subliminal Vision Board.
Mm-hmm.
So you create different vision boards that apply to yourself. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I have about four or five of them. And they have one of the tasks is called a 5 minute 5 minute subliminal message. So your vision board for 5 minutes is flashing in front of your eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's about 20 minutes once I go through each of the 4 or 5 vision boards, 20 to 25 minutes that I have. And then from there, sometimes I do meditation for a little bit and or some yoga and or stretching. And then I start my day.
And then what? You start knitting, you said?
I start my day.
Oh, you start your day. I thought you said you start knitting. You start your day. Okay. So it's like you give yourself probably like an hour, I would say,
Probably.
with everything.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a
So I
good way to
usually get
start.
up about 5:30, between 5 and 6,
Mm-hmm.
and then I do all that.
Are you
And then
checking email and first thing, or you wait until you do all your
sometimes
self-care?
sometimes I may check the phone to see if there's any emergency text messages, but
Mm-hmm.
then I try my best to just put that to the side
Mm-hmm.
and then stick with what I do. And I find that when I stick with what I need to do first for me, then that leads to a better day.
Okay.
And when the days I don't do what I need to do, then it's not so good.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I think it's great to have a plan daily to
Yeah.
take care of yourself. Okay.
Mhm.
So what do you do for fun?
For fun?
I mean, I know COVID presents a different
Well, during
situation, but for the most part, what do you do for fun?
um
Pre and during COVID.
Well, during COVID, so when COVID first started, I have a happy hour with my girlfriends every Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Every Friday? Lucky you.
yes, so we have our happy hour, 4 or 5 of us. So that gets me through the week. This is during COVID. I like to read.
Hmm.
I like to shop, work out.
Hmm. Hmm.
And when we didn't have COVID, like to travel and go out to eat and just be with good people and just, enjoy myself. I love wine festivals as well too.
Yeah, so do I actually. Yeah. All right, excellent.
Hmm.
So I know it's just about that time. I have truly enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Great. So I wanted to just ask you that many women know that they want to do something different, right? But fear sets in.
Yes.
How would you advise those women to figure out how to overcome their fears and go for the thing that they say they want?
Well, they have to realize life is short. And as you get older, you realize that. Like, I can't believe it's December of 2020.
I know it's crazy.
And then, unfortunately, as we get older, you realize there's a lot more people who pass away around you.
Hmm.
And then you realize you're like, okay, unfortunately, you don't know when it's your time, and you have to make the best of the time that you have. The next chapter of your life should be the best chapter of your life.
Hmm.
And if you don't do it, you could spend the next 20 years living a miserable, angry filled life, or you can spend the next 20 years living the life that you want on your terms.
Right.
Can your life be on your terms and not on someone else's terms?
Right.
So,
Yes, I agree. I think once you, again, that 45 plus age, that seems to be like the magic age
yes.
where I think you start to go, like you said,
Yeah.
more people who surround you are passing. When you start seeing family members who were older leaving,
Mm-hmm.
and then mortality starts to like hit you right in the face,
Mm.
right? So that alone makes you go, I need to just be happy now, like in every way, be happy and make the best of this life.
Yes.
What I also say is, I don't want to live with regrets.
Yes.
So that's one thing, that one line of thinking that helps me get over the fear.
Yes.
I'm fearful of doing certain things, but I push myself because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to have the regret. I don't
Yeah.
want to be 60, 70, 80 and sit back and go, darn, if only I had started that business, or if only I had taken charge of my health and made sure that I could live a better quality of life, at least because I had eaten better and worked out.
Yes.
Well, whatever it is that's important to you, you just
Mm-hmm.
do it, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, all right, Miss Valerie.
But
Well,
you gotta do it.
yes, you do. Well, I thank you for this great, inspiring conversation. And hopefully, you've encouraged at least one person to take charge of her health and to
Yes.
take action of some sort today.
Yes.
So I thank you for honestly sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.
Great. So until next time, we'll have to do a follow-up, right?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.